Okay, Fambulen, una good evening. Today, Tuesday, we bring to una lawyer Ady Macauley, one of Ghanaian finest lawyers in the country, a person we don't serve with Mama Salon for the past years, and then he don't serve we in different capacity. He been be a prosecutor na the ACC before he become an ACC commissioner. But before then, this na a lawyer we can study na the United Kingdom, na the University of London. He go na law school. Then before he begin practice like in law. So he attain waiting he attain so. But this na a man way if I say I dey talk about him, we go sleep in a year. So I think say the best person for just give a brief about himself. Now, lawyer Ady Macauley. So, lawyer Ady Macauley, welcome to Then and Now. This is a platform we established for the past 3 years. We bring people now for can express themselves, talk about national issues, and then you are welcome to Then and Now platform. Over to you, sir.
Yes. Good evening, Saiko. Good evening, Patrick, and good evening, listeners and viewers. Mina, lawyer Ady Macauley, an anti-corruption practitioner, constitutional and human rights practitioner.
Thank you very much, lawyer Ady Macauley. This is very short, but I mean, the message clear. So we bring you at this platform today for talk on several issues, national issues, and then you na a household name na Sierra Leone and beyond Sierra Leone. So you been be a commissioner of the anti-corruption. Tell we small thing about your tenure in office. What you've been doing, and what were some of the challenges where you faced during your tenure in office?
Firstly, I get me starting anti-corruption way. Joseph Fitzgerald Kamara, when a friend to me, invite me for be a prosecutor at the Anti-Corruption Commission sometime in 2010-11. I answered the call to national duty and become a prosecutor. I prosecuted Nabu, Kenima, McKinney, Freetong, myself with my other colleagues there. And from that time day up to 2016, that was April 2016, where the former president of the Republic, His Excellency Dr. Anis Baikoma, appointed me as commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission until my illegal removal from office by the Bureau administration in June 2018. So in effect, I served in a prosecutorial capacity at the Anti-Corruption Commission for about, 5.5 to 6 years, and also as commissioner for about 2 years. The fight against corruption are one way actually not easy. Easy in the sense that it's a national challenge where you get 100% commitment for fight corruption. Of course, integrity is an integral part in the fight against corruption. If you, as the commissioner, not get integrity in you, then the fight becomes very, very difficult. Being there makes you a very lonely man. What I mean by being there makes you a very lonely man. Well, you are not an ordinary person any longer. You are fighting the ills of society. Something we don't make we country debian like how we debian so for over 60 something years. And I just want to make Fambule know say corruption fet na fet way nobody no go win in 1 year or 2 years. It takes quite a lot of effort and time for fight corruption in a country. And it was both challenging, revealing, and also it was an interesting time for me at the ACC. I believe that I was able to achieve what I achieved. quite a lot of things they were do, but as we get on with the program, I go to talk about the things that we are doing at the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Lawyer Ady Macauley, welcome to the program, sir. And Mina Prince Coma, one of the hosts for tonight's program, and we very, very happy, you get you on the platform here tonight. And Fambule with the watch, as usual, we ask for the usual ritual. The one we shape is because the national conversation not begin. So they all might be a part and parcel of this conversation. And the man we talk to, of course, a man of eminence, a man we don't serve in various capacity, as soon as you from the beginning. And the conversation here tonight is very central to it. I pick up on one or two things where you say, sir, which is, first of all, you sacking during your tenure where the co-host asked you was unconstitutional, was illegal, but we will come to that shortly. I want to reflect back on your time at the anti-corruption when you have been the boss. So you did set up a couple of things then, if we may. We will not want to belabor on. If you're not having the microphone, if you can mute your mic, please. Yeah, to all. Dear family, on allow shape this. Poppy Aruni just joined. Gali Dowd, please share this. Let we get all Sierra Leoneans on board. So as I've been saying, Lawyer Macauley, you set up several things then during your tenure at the anti-corruption, whether a pay no bribe campaign, where the essence of our before allow citizens therefore report acts of corruption, and how defeat become for help on many other things then, and how for make declaration online. These are the two key things that I want to ask you about, Lawyer Macauley, you're going back, sir. One, then things that are will be set up, so the fundamentals of them, are they still strong up to the time where you hand over, or when, in inverted commas, you were illegally sacked, and the online asset declaration form where you've been set up, where people according to you, no need for go na the ACC office or wherever, but they can do at the comfort of their home, and then they can fill out their form. Then they, if certain things have not been there in place, like one, internet service, whether not free or whatever, but or free or paid for uninterrupted online application. How comfortable are we that these things, the way you've been so passionate about for help with the fight against corruption, for be happening?
First of all, make I tell you within a new view in the fight against corruption. For fight corruption, now a country, in my own belief, and just to add, I am an expert in anti-corruption commission. I attained a master's degree, Masters of Art in International Anti-Corruption Studies, at the International Anti-Corruption Academy in Vienna. So basically, I not just fight corruption on the practical side, but also on a theoretical basis. For me, for fight corruption has to do with systems and processes. For arrest, announce, charge, lock up, yes, not just part of the fight against corruption. But for me, if I represent very little segment of the reason is this. I mean, when you get systems and processes in place, it's far better than where you not get systems and processes in place, but where you get an alert office where they detect their problems. Then they, now we get what we call damage control in the fight against corruption. That is, you don't allow somebody for thief or for engage in some corruption. You can't arrest her, you can't go to court. That in a publicity business. For me, what's important is you create the environment where that person, the way the thief or get involved in corruption, where they get the opportunity for do so. Take, for example, the immigration office. There are times when you go to the immigration office where, whilst I was in office, a relative of mine go there for go get a passport. Then tell us, say the form no day, the form done. So somebody say, well, the form done, but I get this form where I be buy for somebody where, They end up selling them 100,000 for something where you buy 20,000. So immediately the relative alerts me, and I'll go back and arrest the person way responsible. What I do was for order the systems and processes departments na the Anti-Corruption Commission, for go na the immigration office and carry out a top to bottom systems and processes review. After which we get a report out. And don't forget, they report here and I report them, we mandatory for make them be follow through. And one of the things that we are putting at that report today is that, you know, for able to read corruption in the immigration department, especially with people where they buy from, may we create an online form where every Sierra Leonean will be able to access any sign of the world where they. Where you don't create this online form, you go then able for allow people them wherever they do for access the website, print them forms, and bring them to me to the immigration, and now pay the 10 or 20,000 liens will be supposed for go pay where they buy the form now in their hand. So in other words, it bring savings to the immigration department. One, you not get for print papers forms there again. You save on your ink, you save on your paper, you save on your electricity. Then secondly, they deal with the issue of scarcity. Never again anybody will want for get an application form for a passport where anybody go tell and say no application form done. You just go na you computer, you go na the website, you download the form, you print and you go, you feel like you submit and pay the same amount where you get pay. This is not just one of the suggestions them where I be get for make the systems and processes review put na the report where we be hand over to the immigration services. But it is unfortunate that up to this day, probably going 3.5 years or 4 years since I do that particular report there and recommendation for get a form na the online portal of the immigration. Up to this day, we not get that particular form they put online. So again, the perennial problems of immigration officers telling you, oh, immigration form done, or you get for this, you get for that, continues. This is not just one of the examples where they give for sure say systems and processes are the best tool in the fight against corruption, because when you get it right, then the opportunity for let somebody become corrupt, not good idea.
Okay, Mr. Macaulay, one more question. Like, we see then they talk about an alternative to prosecution. For example, where somebody like more or less culpable, instead of taking him to court, like una get away means for settle like out of court. What you would tell people them, fumble them about that? Because some man go vex say, hey, no, this man don't thief. They no go to a court, they no lock him, but they don't decide for settle the matter out of court. So tell fumble them say, okay, waiting at the importance of them thing they for settle matter, not to only say, okay, pass una go court, pass the person go na court, or pass the lock him or the jail him, una can settle. Waiting at the importance of settling out of court.
Well, may I just make and to fumble them that settling out of court not to something way unique to Sierra Leone. You go na the US, na the United Kingdom, and several Western countries, them settling corruption matters out of court. Now, I think we don't they take place. It is not unique to Sierra Leone, not to Sierra Leone starter. Of course, I do recognize say we not be get the power for do that one day, and now it make fumble them go realize say I not be the reach out of court settlements, because I don't get a lot of people na the country and the diaspora where they criticize say, look, so you don't cast anti-corruption commissioner, it don't settle out of court, it don't recover or retrieve so much money, you not be the duam. Of course, I not be the duam because I not be get the power for duam. The Anti-Corruption Act of 2008 until, and I repeat, until amended in 2019, we not be get the power for each out-of-court settlement. The Act tell you, say, when you suspect or get evidence, say, a corruption don't be committed by a public officer, the law tell you, say, you shall prosecute. So I not be get the power for each out-of-court settlement. Now it make and not be the do, because in the fight against corruption.
Lawyer Ady, just one quick thing I want to let you touch on quickly. Sorry for the interjection. But when inside the law and say shall, will you tell we waiting and they mean a pauper and a must? Please.
Now a command. To put it in the simplest, it's a command. You should do it. So
continue,
basically,
thank you.
Now it make, as they say, people criticized me a lot. So you know, be they get that money, you know, be retrieve money for people there. Look what they happy now. The simple answer to that is that I not be get the power for do so. I look at the act, turn and left and right, back and forth. I not be get the power for take somebody say, okay, you don't take this amount of money, but I no go carry go court. Can't pay this. No, I not be get that power this. So for the people the way don't they criticize me up to this point, not that I did not want to do it, but I did not have the powers to do so. And I not go act outside of the law in enforcing the law. That is one. And secondly, sometimes in the way you look at we get what we call a cost benefit analysis. Okay, somebody don't go and take 10 million news. Do you want to prosecute them? You get for consider how much it will cost the state for prosecute that person there. And if the person ready for come, for own up and say, look, I will pay this money, why not? You know, it's far better for make you retrieve the money or recover the money where you don't thief than you go spend quite a lot of money for going to court. And also, when you reach na court, sometimes you don't know how the outcome go day. So sometimes it is safer. However, sometimes the discretion to prosecute or not to prosecute, whether now 1 loan or 2 loan involved, now something we left with the commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission. Take for example, the exercise of that discretion, and also the amount of money we involve, no more they look at. Now also the issue we involve. Say you get a nurse with thief 500 anti-malarial tablet, now 1 PHU, now 1 village. Not forget, say, when they supply the medicine, they don't do an estimate, say, well, this village now 50 people in the day. And in the past, for a month or two, now 500 tablets they do for take care of the one whole village. Then you get this nurse way, take probably 200 of that tablet, the thief I go sell them. It means, say, it don't deprive people in another village day of 200 anti-malarial tablets, even though the cost of them 200 tablets, then there's some probably not then 3-4 million euros. You go look at the effect of your action, not to the quantum we involve. How many people they don't die because they're not getting anti-malarial tablets? So these are the issues where you, as the commissioner, we get the discretion for prosecute or not for prosecute, where you look at and basically exercise now your mind before you make them kind judgment call a day. Take for example, we prosecuted a teacher inside 2011 or so na Makeni for taking 5,000 leons bribe na one Pikinian. People criticized us that we prosecuted him. He was locked up for 3 years. They asked me, why you do it? Why would I do it? Why would I do this? When I left the one them, I said, look, that small Pekin, we can make a report na the Anti-Corruption Commission. He go to school for good taking result, in teacher tell and say, you get for pay 5,000 euros before I give you results. The Pekin go na host to mama, he go tell him, mama tell and say, you go tell the teacher, say, itself for putting a table today will not get up. Now for tell her, make it trust we, say, when I get money, I go send you 5,000 euros. The Pekin go and tell the teacher refused. Forget the Pekin in result. What did the Pekin do? He come to the ACC office na Makini and make a report. We follow through the report. We send investigators na the school. We actually meet the teacher, get a list, a old pen and paper. You pay you 5,000 euros. It take your name. It give you result. You go. Where we go when we arrest them, we take the plastic bag beside the money there. We count them, and we count the amount of names that we get at the list. Exact. The 5,000 euros times 15 or 20, now the exact money you get. So we prosecute them, one, because now Pekin can make the report. Secondly, the mama don't tell you will not even get money for put food on the table for that day. When I get money, I go send them to you. But intake and say, if you not bribe me, you not go get the result. And that was very, very bad. So these are just the issues then where we they exercise. These are just the issues where we take into consideration, where we make the judgments call on whether for prosecute or not for prosecute. But coming to the issue of reaching out of court settlement, it's a very dangerous issue. The reason why I think it is a very dangerous one are the fact that I don't look at the Anti-Corruption Amendment Act. We give the commissioner the power for reach out of court settlement with people away they believe say don't involve in corruption. The act not get any guiding principles where they guide that discretion. Even when they say you get discretion for do something, you forget guiding principles where they tell you say in determining whether or not you for prosecute or you for reach out of court settlement. Now the things that then wire where you for tick now the box. One, which is the effect on society of the person in corruption we get involved with, the amount of money
we involve.
Yes, whether or not this person, a person we get corruption antecedent, we know to the first 10 days you get involved in corruption. You also get public policy issues. This now something we go on for set a good example on. So these are all the issues that the criteria, they forget criteria with the guide the commissioner in discretion, because there is the possibility that you get a commissioner will not get integrity. I know they say the president commissioner not get integrity because when they make law, they just make the law for the person we did it. They make law for the eventuality that in case we ever forget commissioner will not get integrity, we need to get something where they control that discretionary power day. And for me, that thing they not did it at the moment.
Lawyer Macauley.
Thank you, John. Only talk there 1 minute, please. I just want to do a follow-up, and it's just a quick question where the lawyer answer, and then you can move on. Lawyer Macauley, now something where you say this length and breadth of the thing where you just addressed. The example of the school picking, where sound really emotional. But is that not something where they below the scale? Corruption are corruption, of course, but you get different elements there and they listen and hang on to every word we really see. So a teacher was prosecuted based on a 5,000 leons, where they charged them for. But at the same time, I believe say during the tenure, sir, there were people, will be equally guilty of corruption, but very powerful people. How you away then can balance the day between prosecuting a teacher, where we see during the same time, and more crimes.
First of all, me tenure as commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission was very much short-lived. Very much short-lived. 2 years. In fact, now me don't serve the least amount of time as commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission. Again, this now thing where people like can try for make comparison and me or other people. I not be get sufficient time for able for stamp on my authority and things they want for do. But for come to your question, of course, as I said in the opening, it was a 5,000 euros, but not to the amount of money will be involved now the issue. Not to the personality of the person will be involved now the issue. Now the emotional issues around it. this now a 10, 11, 12-year-old picking come na anti-corruption commission, can make a report say, waiting me teacher they do is improper. And waiting also sway we discretion. Now the fact that the mama don't send to the teacher and say, we don't even get money for putting a table for feed the family today. Give me beginning result. When we get money, we go give. He still refused for one. I think we had every right for prosecutors set an example, say, corruption is not law. Say, if you ask somebody for give a bribe, he not give you for deprive them of the right. So that was just setting an example.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just bring you, before we go further to other issues, on the area of like settling out of court, like you don't already make your submission in that area, but you feel say because the law meant for address some issues in a society and for serve as a deterrent. Because like, okay, now you feel say like somebody big person don't go involved in corruption, you don't go thief boku money. You not feel say like that day now, like if the person no say you not get for serve a jail term, they go settle the issue out of court. You know, if you say that they go make them more involved in corruption because at the end of the day, then get for go settle the matter out of court.
Yeah. Well, as I say in me opening in discussing that particular issue, the discretion for whether for settle out of court or for go na court and prosecute has to be guided. Because if you not get guiding criteria or principles then it open to abuse. That is, left to you, Psycho John, as the commissioner for determine. But make it left to you, Psycho John, as the commissioner for determine, say, if this particular case fit A, B, C, or D, I for go court. If this particular case fit A, B, C, or D, I for settle out of court. That day go make them very, very, very easy for me and you too, and go make sure say that discretion they're not open to abuse.
Okay, thank you very much. Now from recently since the 18th, of course, we've been on the follow social media about issues of corruption, like, okay, the military but audit report before it was made official on the 18th. So please tell we something about the Auditor General's office. Tell we what in they were actually there for and which benefits Sierra Leoneans they get out of the work of the Auditor General in office.
Okay, you start with the Constitution of Sierra Leone, the 1991 Constitution, where Naina the gunner of all waiting for happening or not for happening at the country administration. Specifically, Section 119, subsection 1, we create the Office of the Auditor General. Of course, you also get the Audit Service Act of 2014, we a changer from audit service to audit service Sierra Leone. The mandate of the audit service now for look at the financial and performance activities of ministries, departments, and agencies of government for make sure say there is value for money in the use of public funds. So this they help Sierra Leoneans in different ways. One, they put people the way they manage public funds on their toes for say, when I don't use this public money in the work way I did do, somebody get for calm, look at what I don't do, for make sure say what they be give me that money there for. Now I do and I achieve waiting they be give me for. So it makes sure say you get less corruption. Well, supposedly supposed to get less corruption in the administration of state resources. Then also you get what they call performance audit. In auto money, in actual performance of the ministries, departments, and agencies of government, for see whether or not the mandate we they get for exercise their functions, they don't meet that mandate there. And if they see, say, they know they achieve the mandate where they set them for, of course, the Auditor General get what you call the performance audit report, we go pull out and tell you, we not feel, say, una they do what you are supposed to do. Take, for example, you get a performance contract with the president, say in 2017, for don't do this, and this, but based on we audit of your performance, now only 15-20% of which you supposed for don't do for 2017, 18, 19, or whatever it is, now you do. So these are the issues the way they come out in an audit report. Again, as you know, the Auditor General in work is very, very, very difficult. Difficult in the sense that they put the public service and the government in office on the spotlight for things the way they not go like in terms of politics for make they talk about them. When I noticed, say, in the 10 to 11 year tenure of the former president, Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, audit service consistently on a yearly basis put out audit report them. We show clearly how state resources are being used. So I don't feel, say, this particular audit will come out, so the 2019 and the special audit on COVID funds, now a special audit. We get an audit on the Ebola funds, we get an audit on the COVID funds. So the perception, say, oh, the Auditor General is trying to expose the government, it's just funny. It's just funny. I mean, yeah, not to think where anybody for pay attention to.
Yeah, so let me just ask now, like, let's say the auditor, this audit report don't come. So waiting next, how? Because like the audit report, when you read them, it's like telling you, like, we have a new system, a new government in place, but it's like when the audit report come out, is the whole, it's like now the same system, no more, like the same corruption or the same corruption allegations, now the same thing, no more people and know they do the right thing, money than the laws. So waiting next, how you feel say we go address waiting at the next thing now? The audit report don't come out. I think say they don't table and parliament. So waiting next.
Well, when you go, because me a lawyer and always everything what is circulate for time to the law. I would take una to section 119 subsection 4 and subsection 5 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone. Subsection 4 say within 12 months to the end of every financial year, the Auditor General for conduct an audit of MDAs and put in findings into a report and present them before Parliament. And in that particular report, it can draw the attention of Parliament to irregularities we find in the exercise of your functions, say, in auditing the public service. And now Parliament under subsection 5 of section 19 can debate this audit report and can go as far as probably setting up a public accounts committee for put together a team inside Parliament where they look at this audit report and come out with their own findings, them way they see, because they get the power for call. If they say you spend this money, you don't get supporting document, Parliament gives someone you and tell you, okay, audit service say una no able show and then document ya. Una come and answer to question regarding them particular expenditure where they say una no able for provide una documentation. And Parliament gets powers for lock you up. If you refuse for obey the summonses, it will be contempt of Parliament. So these are the issues. But when you look at the issues that were there inside the audit report, I mean, these are basic raw allegations of corruption. Take, for example, I go through the 2019 audit report. It is interesting, and I pick on this for one simple reason, that the former Attorney General, Minister of Justice, was very loud in the fight against corruption. We they go up and down the Allah, but commissions of inquiry. But when I go through the law officers department for 2019, there is a particular report on the procurement of computers and office supplies from one Magala Enterprises. And it is interesting. The audit report say, then computer and their office supplier, then deliver them to law officers department on the 22nd of November, 2019. On the 22nd of November, 2019. It's about the delivery of the computer then come up on the 13th of November 2019. But the notification of award now on the 22nd of November 2019. So actually waiting the report is try for tell you is even before the law officers department tell this supplier say we award you the contract for supply we computer and office supplies then in the already supply before they tell us they can supply. It is very interesting. He already don't supply even before they inform and say can supply. So how do you explain this? You cannot. And these are the very issues them where Prince Ilya Swartz be team up now the commission of inquiry and talk say therefore prosecute the people that we get involved in kind here. In fact, there is also another 701 million where they say now traveling expenses way on retired. Basically, I expect say Prince Ilya Swartz for dinner anti-corruption commission first thing tomorrow morning for who explain the entire we take place under Ian watch.
Okay, lawyer Ady Macauley, Fambulem, una way they watch we live. This na the former ACC boss, lawyer Ady Macauley. We get him na then and now today. He tell we discuss so many issues, but right now we there on the audit report, the famous audit report we just come out. Lawyer Ady Macauley. Now let's say we know say the ACC get powers, the anti-corruption commissioner get power for prosecute. Now, is it like possible for lady anti-corruption commissioner go begin chase them people they are wanting before parliament take any action? Is that possible? Does the ACC has a power?
ACC under Section 7 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2008 as amended, get the power for looking to allegations of corruption and outside the fair evidence for prosecute the people that we involve and for now for reach out of court settlement lately. I don't go through the Constitution of Sierra Leone. I don't go through the Audit Service Act of 2014. There is nothing there will prevent the Anti-Corruption Commission from looking into the allegations of corruption here at the same time we Parliament they look at them. I mean subsection 4 and 5 of section 119 of the 1991 Constitution say the Auditor General can present the audit report na Parliament can debate them, and that Parliament can set up committee for looking into the issues. But not in order the way say no other body or person not supposed for looking into the issues until after Parliament don't look at them. You know, this is an issue where not till today starts. We don't get this fit. When I remember the Ebola audit report, a lot of people criticize Joseph Fitzgerald Kamara and myself for saying we not take action in the audit report that day. Of course we did. We will not forget the palaver, the argument with Joseph Kamara the then commissioner, they get with the majority leader in parliament, Bundu, Honorable Bundu, on Udage primacy. Me now one person will be they prosecute some of the issues, and they reach a point where parliament tell staff na audit service alone say, as far as we they look into the audit report here, we are not cooperate with the ACC, and are they gonna court? Audit service staff they know they able can court for can give testimony regarding the work where they do, because parliament don't instruct them say make them not go there. This was basically obstructing the functions of the Anti-Corruption Commission. I stand ready for debate. Anybody we want tell me say parliament get primacy over the audit report to the exclusion of all other persons. You know, there is duality of use. What I mean is this. Whilst parliament, they look at them, the anti-corruption, they look at them. And let me just take them to the Anti-Corruption Act of 2008 as amended. The Anti-Corruption Act is a very powerful law. If only we put into use all the powers them where they inside that law day, we go a very long way for fight corruption at the country. When you look at section 77, it make a mandatory say each and every public servant in the exercise of his function will come across an act of corruption or where an act of corruption is about to be committed. He shall report to the Anti-Corruption Commission forthwith of such corruption or corruption that is about to take place. Then you go further to section 78, where say, notwithstanding waiting in a section 77, it names specific offices where get the obligation for report to the Anti-Corruption Commission of Corruption Act where they encounter in the exercise of their functions. And one of the offices that they now the House of Parliament, where you look at section 77, it's inside it. And one of the other offices again, now the Audit Service Sierra Leone. And make this bold and clear. For reports to the Anti-Corruption Commission, acts of corruption where you come across in the exercise of your function as a public officer, now a requirement, a mandatory requirement. If you fail for do within section 77 and section 78 tell you for do, it is an offense under the Anti-Corruption Act. And I will refer now to section 130 of the Act, which tell you say, anybody will fail for comply with a requirement or obligation under the Act, and for which no specific offense is created for failing to comply with that requirement or obligation, they commit an offense, and upon conviction shall be liable to be sentenced to not more than 3 years in prison, to not less than 3 years imprisonment, or to a fine of not less than 30 million, or to both such fine and imprisonment. So okay. I want to see Usai, anybody go come and tell me, say.
Okay, I think lawyer Ady don't freeze there. So Fambulem, we come to una today, the 22nd of December 2020, on a very special program. And this program is quite important because it's a learning process for every one of us in the search for the soul of we country. We can disagree for agree, but here, what we talk about now real law. There are many things happening today in our country, and one of the things them way this man way they talk about now man way we don't sit down at them position the day before. They say Kapu sense, no Kapu Lord. But waiting the man they talk, now things them way they inside the statutes, inside the books, inside the law of the country. That's what he's talking about, not outside of the law. We really need for understand this. So in as much as we may disagree with them, we therefore give the law its due credence. I don't know whether lawyer Ady Macauley is back. So Fambule Mfunalieri, would they talk to none other but lawyer, the renowned lawyer, Ady Macauley. I know say I use the word renowned and somebody begin question renown. Can you just imagine that? Let's not boil down to petty. You may disagree with him, but he's renowned. Why he's renowned is another question. So we need to understand that. Yeah. Okay.
Are you there, Lawyer Macauley?
Okay, I am now on back.
Okay.
I'm now on again.
Thank you very much. Okay, you don't make your submissions because now we use the lawyer terms there. You don't make your submissions like very clear and simple because we target a lot of people that will understand legal issues and those who like have no idea about legal issues. Okay, but now let's say this audit report will come also. We don't see a lot of issues them way they raise. You feel say then report here alone don't form a basis for prosecute somebody na courts. It will be sufficient evidence or then go need more evidence like for support then issues them. Yeah, like for example, we don't see procurement rules being flouted. We don't see so many issues. We therefore bring the issues and day. But yeah, you feel say based on their why it is sufficient enough for them prosecute somebody or for them commence an investigation.
This audit report now a document with sufficient, we don't give sufficient material for make the Anti-Corruption Commission open an investigation into the issues where the audit report does.
Okay, yeah, you.
Okay, I think we lost the lawyer again. We probably have audio problems. But Fambulem, if we take a look at the screen right now, we will see part of the audit report. Let's face it, this is a damning report. And even whether you did for or against, this thing is supposed to be of concern to every one of us. This is not just part of a huge report. And I demand to talk about, so, and this man, again, internal knowledge about it, remove partisanship, look at the lawful side of the things where they talk about. So the report don't come out. We all can read English and write English. Lawyer Ady, are you back, sir?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay. Continue for 4 years. We can hear you now, yeah.
Yes. So it's the audit report form sufficient basis for comments and investigation into the activities of all those involved in the allegations that we don't come out of the audit report. It forms sufficient basis for open investigations. Not forget, say, when the commissions of inquiry of 2018 be gone, audit service reports now the paramount document where they use for investigate. So I believe, say, it should not occupy any lesser prominence in this particular instance.
Okay, Lawyer Macauley, this brings me to another question. Like, we see a lot of people critics them of, like, like critics them of a way they talk things them against you and other people them say, okay, no, now, or some man they even tell we say why the Auditor General not been the release the report, but like some of us, we know them in the release every year, them in the release report and damning reports where government not been left during the past regime. So, but now other people in the car with some arguments say, then is it rollover or how you call it? And they say this 2019, they're not only focus on 2019, then get report of 2015, 16, 17, 18. When reports that we've been done, the issues that we've been done, they under the past government. So what you can tell me about that?
And just before Lawyer Ady go, just for add to what me co-host Sekou John say, now one question I want to ask in relation to the same issue, and then add to what me co-host just say. Lawyer Ady, I know say you don't take your time for try for explain to Fambulem exactly what in the audit report, what it stand for, and the legal rubrics around them, like Parliament and etc. My own question where myself keen on, and I know say Boku family interested in them. We know say governments them they can get away with a lot of things, Lawyer Ady, a lot of things. But for some reason, this Auditor General report, it get a fixed time way for come out, it get some discipline around them, and if when they say for happen, it will happen and it continue for happen, despite the ifs and the buts and the contradictions, it still they happen. What is it about this report, or what kind of independence does Lara, the Auditor General, get, Mrs. Pierce, will make this report also on time, and how it will be? Is there an extension to it, or is it just dependent on Parliament, the same Parliament who will get questions about, sir?
You know, when you look at Section 119, subsection 6 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone, and also when you look at Section 15 of the Audit Service Act of 2014, make it very clear, say, the Auditor General in the exercise and performance of your function is not subject to the control or direction of any person or authority. Now, possibly way they do your work, you're not supposed to take instructions from anybody, you're not supposed to take instructions from any authority. And which is why, for make sure, say, he able for do that work there without hindrance. Section 119, subsection 9, talk about the tenure of the office of the Auditor General. Section 1199 and subsection 10 tell you, see, the Auditor General can retire in office at attaining the age 65. So meaning that before attaining that age day, nobody know the way for pull up, except when you look under subsection 9 and 10, it tell you, say, if it don't do something where na a misconduct, then they can able for remove an office. But if you want for remove an office, you get forget the same procedure where you go through for remove a judge of the Supreme Court of Sierra Leone. That is section 137 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone. It tell you, say, when you want for remove a judge of the Supreme Court, then you for set up a tribunal where for investigate that judge day. And that tribunal they for be made up of at least 3 judges of the Supreme Court and 2 other people them, where no to lawyer or judge. And when them people then, when that panel did that tribunal they don't look at the misconduct where they allege against the Auditor General, then that report they send and go Parliament. Parliament say they go debate them and vote on them and get a 2/3 majority. If they able get a 2/3 majority, then they can recommend to the president now, say, you can remove this person. And it is not just the office of the Auditor General. We get the protection here. The Anti-Corruption Commissioner under Section 4 of the Act get the same protection, say, when you want to remove the Anti-Corruption Commission due to incapacity for carry out the functions of the Anti-Corruption Commissioner, either due to infirmity of body or mind or for stated misconduct, then you get for set up a tribunal. We made up of 3 people, 2 of them for at least be judges of the Court of Appeal, and 1 other person. And when they don't put together, then you only report in this tribunal. Then for send the report go Parliament. Parliament debate them and vote on 2/3 majority. Then you send her now to president and he recommends that you can remove this person. The same
Okay, we don't lost the lawyer in audio again. Sekou John, you hear me?
Yeah, they hear you.
So we don't lost lawyer Ady in audio. He go come back in. Okay, so Famulem, just a quick one. We are having a brilliant conversation here tonight, bordered on legality, constitutionality, the law. And we get a lawyer now we missed, not to just any ordinary lawyer, but a huge one within at the center of the discussion now where they happen in the country. So Famulem, we get lawyer Ady Macauley here with us tonight. There's 140 of us now the panel here tonight where they watch the program. If we can multiply this, we share around maybe 2 or 3 times, then maybe we will get another 300 to 400 people, here watching. This program subsequently is going to be watched by thousands of others. Lawyer Ady, you are back, sir, and you've been there in mid-flow. You want to continue from Musa, you last left, and not forget, say the question we say, John, they put to you. The Yuki where they talk about where they go on the inside, especially where it comes to this audit report. Sekou John, you want to frame that question back to the lawyer so you go pick up from there?
Okay, yeah, Lawyer Macauley, we just want to know because some people in the tribe for we say the audit reports then get what they call a rollover, like the issues them way they raise now a backlog, most of them are backlog issues, like from 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. So how correct is that?
First of all, let people can tell we which the inside the audit report. You get here, myself get here. I don't look at the audit report. 99.9% of the issues that we did now issues that we happened inside 2019. This issue of spinning everything now it makes Salon go bien so today. The people that will be guilty of corruption yesterday or where they make allegations of corruption, they don't deal with them. This is not the turn of the people that were they in office now where they're accused of corruption. And not the way go distract the people of Sierra Leone from talking about their issues that day. Now coming to the particular issue where you talk about. Yes, in the exercise of audit, you get what they call rollover issues. Take, for example, this particular audit report we don't come on now where the Auditor General already certain issues them. After this audit report don't come out, they get people the way they indict, well, let me use the word indict, way they make allegations against the audit report. Sometimes side where they be saying not bring side where they be saying not bring supporting documentation. After the audit report come out, it go pull supporting documentation, it go show the Auditor General say, I don't bring supporting documentation. No, look at the Auditor General, they look at, he say, okay, I am satisfied with it, or I'm not satisfied with it. So when 2020 audit reports they come out, the Auditor General they go back to this particular issue and say, in the previous 2019 audit report, that issue here we don't raise them, and this person don't bring supporting documents and other explanation, which we satisfy with. So this particular issue is resolved, or we don't look at it, we not still satisfy say them particular issues here resolved. So they might be correct that they are carried over issues from 2017 come inside this Auditor General report. But one of the things I want to make clear is that now only less than 1% of the issues that within the current audit report get to do with the rollover from previous years. Then secondly, when it comes to the quantum of money where the audit report 2019 say loss, they not they include the amount where the rollover issues they come with, because that amount they don't include them in the total amount where they say lost in the government for that particular year.
Lawyer Ady, I don't understand that part there, and that part then a very contentious issue where they float around. For the benefit of the public, some of we win a copy. Can you repeat that part again, please? The
point why they try to make is this: the rollover issues, now issues the way they happen inside audit report, where the Auditor General they come and say, so and so issue will be audit inside 2016 or 2017 or 2015 as social ministry. The people that will be involved don't come with explanation where we don't accept or the issue is resolved. Or the people that will be involved don't come with explanation. We not still satisfied with. the explanation we then give we. So this particular issue still remains unresolved. But that's not mean say the money we involved by that particular issue they include now the total for 2019. That 2019 report, the money where they did. Now money where now only 2019 money where they allegedly lost 90 days. And again, no rollover money where they inside it, even though rollover issues they did, but rollover money not inside that 2019 day. The rollover issues them, their own money, they be done add them to the quantum of money where they allegedly lost for that particular year day. So it is really laughable for people and for come apologize them of corrupt people them for come and try for obfuscate the argument and distract people them from talking about the massive, shocking findings of the Auditor General report. We will not be allowed. Let every Sierra Leonean, every day you wake, the first thing we for do now for ask the question about the money them way they say lost inside 2019. For example, it is very interesting for no say. Then, of course, we all see the argument between the Minister of Defense, Kelly Conte. We see the NPPA boss. We also see the Deputy Minister of Transport and Aviation, where they be the argue whether na 30 new motokade or not to 30 new motokade. Well, according to the procurement, where audit service tell we they be supposed to buy 30 new motokade, but audit service found out about two things. One, that the motokade not to all na new motokade. So now the post way do the procurement get explanation for tell we why make go buy the new motokade the way we take money for. And secondly, also the audit service report tell we say there are still 6 outstanding vehicles them where they not deliver it. Well, then tell we say then do sole sourcing because it was urgent. If it is urgent, why make the urgency no push enough for get a complete delivery of all the 30 vehicles them. So these are very serious issues where nobody know the way go can distract we. I mean, you buy 30 motorbikes for ONS. The inflated price where audit service tell we say it cost now 21,702,000 euros. When audit service actually go to the field and ask for the same bike here, now 12 million euros. So it's over 10 or 11 million euros inflated for each and every bike. Then you come back to the 100 bikes with Nakovac buy. Again, then tell we say then TVS bike them. Nakovac say them buy each for 19 million euros, but where audit service go na the ground, now 13 point something million, so over 7 million inflated over 100 bikes. That is a huge amount of money. So nobody can distract me from talking about this issue by bringing an argument of rollover issue. Yes, rollover issues they did it, but they make up less than 1% of the issues the way audit service bring into the reports of 2019. Also, the rollover issue that the money not included in this.
Okay, thank you very much, lawyer Ady Macauley. So let me just see. One of the outstanding issues them will come out during all like audit report them all over, like now the flouting of procurement rules. And then they see authorities them, they peg the argument saying a matter of urgency, because I still recall during the Ebola, now the same thing back then say because of the urgency, we're not able to follow the procurement rules. And other argument I believe say they were about go advance, especially Nakovac or because of this COVID or something. These procurement rules, people are always they flout and now during your tenure in office, or people and they wait and don't really punish for flouting these rules, procurement rules?
Of course, when you look at cases there, for example, the 50th anniversary case, it was a procurement issue. You remember that 50th anniversary case where CCK won a court? It was a procurement issue. You remember the first minister, serving minister, na Sierra Leone, where the Anes by Kurma government take na court for a corruption issue, Honorable Kurma. It was a procurement issue. The former mayor of Freetown, in issue Okegu na court, na anti-corruption, na court on anti-corruption issue. Na procurement issue. You take the Gavi funds. There were a lot of procurement issues. You know, it is interesting that people feel say the terror within anti-corruption, that's not the way we do. And let's just bring on something to our attention. When I see Charles Mambu pull out letter recently with the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, tell and say, let them unfreeze the account, they don't lift in travel ban because of they don't get evidence, say, if they don't pay the money where they be say if for under the audit report. Remember that Ebola audit?
Yeah, I remember. Now that time they quiet safe since that time.
Okay, guess under Uda in watch na ACC where that money they pay. It was under my watch. But people will not come out to say that, so in fact, some man say I not do anything. So when I see Charles Mambu at the commissions of inquiry, where them call away go there, I call me, say, Mr. Macauley. He said, but that issue where me and you be don't resolve, where you be don't make, I don't go pay. Where you be give me receipt for, you make I go pay na the consolidated fund, while bringing in the paying slip to you, you give me receipt. It's then at the same issue that they call me for Naya. So I was surprised that the Justice Biobel Commission of Inquiry, with all the evidence where they put before, they still come out say Charles Mambu get outstanding issue. I bring up this issue for tell people and say, you know, the fight against corruption, make everybody just come and do your own and go. But for this, consistently they criticize people and we don't work for the country. It's a disservice to other people we will get for come and work in the future. It's very discouraging.
Okay, thank you very much. But let's say, for example, for the past 10 or so years, we get every year we get almost the same problem of this massive, like every year where they reports, like you will say, okay, no, last year better. You understand? So what do you feel say wrong? Are we learning anything from this? Are we gaining as Sierra Leoneans, like getting any benefit out of the audit report where they come out? What happen? What really not the problem?
What we learn from the same recurring issue here is that Sierra Leoneans never learned. You know, also, I remember the prosecution of Sarah Bendo and others on procurement issues for tow trucks. That was about 2009, 2010, 11. Again, ACC don't prosecute a lot of people on procurement issues. But again, we come back to systems and processes. If we don't get systems and processes, it counts for nothing. For me, prosecuting is shot in the door after the horse has bolted. The damage is done. You're not able to come and repair the damage again. I will just punish the person. If me gets me way, there is no way I will take anybody in a court because I will make sure say we put systems and processes in place where they make sure say the opportunity for thief not even there. And when we do that one day, now then they insist on. Take for example, the mudslide. Now remember when we get the experience of the Ebola audit, when I take over now the Anti-Corruption Commission, I set up a system we call a disaster response transparency initiative. What it means is this: immediately there is a disaster in the country, the Anti-Corruption Commission, together with Audit Service Sierra Leone, they do a real-time audit of resources where they come into the hands of Sierra Leoneans for respond to that disaster day. So when the mudslide Matome take place, we set up this disaster response transparency initiative where World Bank be fund me office where they buy motorcycle and vehicle for we. Where every day, we dey take note of every amount of money where people dey pledge, whether in organizations, countries, every day. We dey take say, okay, today, now so people, organization or countries, they make a pledge. Or now so relief materials or items them, they don't donate. Then we dey watch now the bank account, we dey monitor on a daily basis, now real-time audit. Say this person will be don't pledge, it don't pay. We dey look at the bank account if the money don't come inside it. This person we don't pledge. If we say they pledge 5 million leons, but not 2 million he pledge. We dey see, and for example, the British government doing a mudslide, they pledge some amount of money. It end up saying no to all the bigger for pay. We be get for pick up that one day. Then each and every expenditure we get for take note of them. You go find out, say, after the mudslide issue, not a single issue of corruption come up, even when audit service audit the mudslide. Not a single issue of corruption they're able for bring serious issue of corruption they're able for bring to the fore. And interestingly, we get intelligence officers then now all the areas the way they give relief items. We get monitors the way if you know to a victim of the mudslide, there is no way you go get any of the relief items today. And we also put together a system, an intelligence system where we work with police, military, and other institutions the way any side they suspect say mudslide relief items then they don't go keep them. They would go pull them. We go arrest the people there. So this was how we deal with the mudslide issue, the anti-corruption deal with the mudslide issue. We you know hear anything but corruption.
Lawyer Macauley, on this same thing where they talk about, I just get a quick question for you, sir. Suffice me to say, Pambulem, that during Lawyer Ady Macauley in time, Transparency International Perception Index, that's 2016 around then, we grew by 1%. It sounds insignificant, but somehow that was significant. From 39, we came up to, I think, 40 points. But going back to this Ebola fund, where you talk about the disaster management relief fund, things and way you put in place. If this were so, Lawyer Macauley, why is it up to this day, a decade or so after, issues around corruption, the embezzlement and misuse of funds relating to Ebola is still a hot topic today?
Well, it is still a hot topic because people don't want to talk about the corruption will take place today. That's not the answer. They don't want to talk about corruption. I mean, issues of Ebola audit reports, Parliament don't look at them, ACC don't look at them, Commission of Inquiry don't look at them, they don't make their findings. We are subject of appeals now. We left issues of Ebola audit report. Today we get COVID audit report, and a COVID audit report, now we go talk about nobody no go distract we. Again, if I continue for pick up from USA left, when Dr. Anesbai Kumadi left office, when this current government they take place, when I do my report to former president, we ask me on we monitoring of the mudslide funding, we left $5 million na the account, the relief account. That is the dollar account, and there was 6 billion leons na the leons account as at the date where the Dr. Julius Maada Bio government take up office. The reason why they bring the issue here now for show you how when you put a systems and processes in place, how you go prevent corruption. When you compare mudslide, the management of mudslide fund, you compare the management of Ebola funds, there is a huge disparity. The reason is because in the mudslide fund, we don't learn from the Ebola experience, and we make sure so we put together the disaster response transparency initiative when a real-time audit We know this again na anti-corruption. We they wait, let somebody thief, audit go audit, they bring the report to win and tell we they act. No, it was very, very proactive. And I hope say that structure they were left still they na anti-corruption commission way COVID they go on. So because if you know the day, then probably this is the very reason why we get this very shocking report.
Okay, thank you very much, Lawyer Ady Macauley. Fambule Munadi watch we live with the interview Lawyer Ady Macauley. Like how me presenter been say earlier on, when we say the renowned lawyer Ady Macauley, of course, you get people that win critics. Some side like me, they ask me, who stand that man be renowned? I say, well, it left to how you look at him, because na a man we don't serve a country and it na a household name. No, he like people that know him, you know. And Lawyer Macauley, we don't see this audit report, we don't read. Would let's say I take two issues them. One issue na the Ministry of Finance where they say they use whooping amount of money on funerals of government officials them where they no follow regulations, no nothing. And then that now one. The other issue is leadway that way in the export timber. You know, you see something like a tax evasion or something. And I believe say, especially in country, tax evasion is a serious like offense. So what you would tell me, are these like really Sierra Leone government officials and then people the way they in a position of trust, do they really treat these issues with seriousness?
Yeah.
Well, from the report, from the audit service report, the answer is no. They've not treated this issue with seriousness, because if they did, you know, go the inside the audit report day. Let's just start with the issue of the leadway. You know, the leadway one a very interesting one. I see the Ministry of Finance try to do a damage control effort by bringing into the Finance Act that in the export of timber, the tax imposition is no longer based on cubic meter. It is now based on containers. Well, going forward, from the date where this new Finance Act they come into effect, it will be legal as per the law. But going backward, it was illegal. I mean, there is no way you can erase a past infraction of law. Yeah. Past, you say you go give amnesty, and the only person will get the opportunity for give amnesty or for pardon people that not now the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone. But as far as me concerned, the Auditor General report, we report see over 5.something billion they will they not collect in taxes on the export. 5.5 billion we they not collect in $5.5 billion we they not collect in taxes on the leadway led export of timber. For me, it is 110% correct. When you look the law, then it say you for charge people as per cubic a meter or feet, then go charge per container. And I believe say the reason why they ask people therefore let them pay in cubic feet now for make sure say they discourage the exportation of we trees them. I mean, because of this massive people that they all say, oh, Leadway don't bring camp over 50 from the way this government come into office. Leadway don't bring over $100 million into the coffers of government. What did they know they talk about? We like I don't tell we now that the amount of money where they make government lost $5.5 billion. Then also they don't rape, we forest them. Go now we deep forest them. Either na Kwenadugu, either na Kailang, you know, they don't rape the trees them. Now I make now you see 30 days inside December, BB grain still the can of salo. You know what you do? And because of environmental issues where they be caused by the issue of cutting down of trees, it go reach point where nobody no go get source for get water for drink in that country.
For helping the, thank you very much. Like really the impact of this deforestation. Now country, like really we ordinary people and don't begin feel them, especially like my people in Falaba district. Recently, I've been the follow report them where the interview, where Radio Bintumani na Kabbalah interview the paramount chief them with other stakeholders them. All over the chiefdoms, then they cry the same cry, shortage of water. Water no day now. A lot of places, them some rivers then they dry quick. Water like then they suffer for water, basically. Interestingly, the one the way they come buy with timber, then Chinese them. I think na Mongo one side did and say now then Chinese then go offer for dig borehole for help with people them. After we then don't waiting say. So it's like I like for use this opportunity for appeal to government and the one the way they listen to we right now, make them look into these issues because people then don't already start for suffer because of lack of water. Now we provinces and all as a
And also,
result of deforestation.
and also,
So
if I can add to waiting, yeah, Sekou John, I think say you finish, go on.
yeah, okay, yeah. So like yeah, just make your point. Then later now we go to the next topic now.
Oh, yeah, now just waiting we guess we need to talk about in terms of the raping of the forest and obviously the subsequent natural disaster we get for occur as a consequence of waiting happen to we natural environment. But just before we can studio, fortunately, I've been listening to various clips of His Excellency the President. In terms of this timber thing, I think where the president himself sanctioned, because I see the reporter ask him, he did an interview on Al Jazeera, and the reporter asked him, about this forest thing, them way they go on. In see him as a source of revenue, and he actually say, yes, it is a good thing. What thing they will try for do now for making sustainable, so it will be more profitable to the country. In other words, instead of them just package them and put them inside container in that raw form and send them away, then go help for processing of the country. And now they speak almost verbatim for the president, that then go process on a free tongue, it will create jobs and then furnitures, and then the cost will be less. So just waiting, we guess they say, lawyer, are they, this come up from the president up, the most powerful man of the country. Which other way they for mitigate this circumstance now in terms of stopping this rape, as you put of with natural resources in the country, where the president himself sanctioned the felling of trees and timber, and we see waiting then at the Auditor General report.
I mean, all the highlighting things about the damage mitigation way the president said they could put in place is all political talk. What the government is interested in is only the revenue coming in from the felling of those trees. I am very happy for note say I was part of a company where I work for, where we help bring Canada this country as a lawyer, Mairo Forestry, within a mile 91, where we help them for secure huge suite of land at the mile 91, grassland. Basically, what in Mairo they do, now timber business they did into. But then now they cut any timber we do to them plant. So for the past 7-8 years, six years, they don't plant trees the way don't they mature. Now, 91 thousands of acres of land. So what do you mean want make this government do is that now for him pass a law, we go give for pass a law, we go give permission to anybody for fell trees, the only trees the way you plant. That is, you don't go cut tree we know to you plant. You go see where the Chinese businessman go run come on and not for cut stick again because they're not they ever plant stick them. Then I for cut and go no more. And the issue of having a value added a process in the export of timber, create the infrastructure force, create the conducive environment where we encourage business people therefore can create their industries that they we will bring added value to your product, we will increase the value of the product and eventually the the price and way it go reflect on the taxes way that business it go pay. Also, we could deal with issues of employment of the youth and other age brackets in the country. But as I say, we've had this, not to just President Bio don't talk this, but other people and President they don't talk this. You know, when it comes to the environment, this is something that I am really passionate about. The small land when we get in Africa, I get past 30 tick the inside it, becoming a possible like nature. So again, government for make sure say everybody will get host now the capital city for depending if you get one town lot, get one tick inside it. If not 2 town lot, get at least 2 trees there inside it. Let it become a law. You know, these are the ways to mitigate the deforestation which rapidly take place in our country.
Okay, thank you very much, lawyer Ady Macauley. So again, would they take you to other issues them like we don't see from way like the certain you stay one at the Anti-Corruption Commission as a commissioner, but we see as a lawyer, a passionate lawyer, we see you they represent former officials of the past government, and then a lot of people like critics them, the talk say, well, this man been the head anti-corruption, he been they in charge for hold these people accountable, but now he's defending them. You know, a lot of things then they go on social media around that. Then they send pictures them of you and the other former ACC boss. So what is now your take on this?
Firstly, I am no longer working for government. That's now one. So I don't get any obligation for go work or for fet corruption on behalf of the government. But that not mean say, as a Sierra Leonean, I not get the moral conscience for saying no, but this particular thing is bad. I will not defend it. In fact, when I was at the Commission of Inquiry, I get certain cases the way I reject. Either one, because in a case we don't come through me at the commission at some point, or secondly, in an issue where morally I feel say probably it will not sit down well with me. But as lawyers, we get what they call the cab rank rule, where, as you know, a law student, they take every brief way, not go against your moral compass. And again, let people get this straight. I am a lawyer. I have been an anti-corruption commissioner before. And when I go at the commissions of inquiry, I was not going there to defend corrupt people. Don't forget the commission of inquiry now be an investigative process. So I go at the commission of inquiry for enhance the investigations where government be the carry out of the previous administration. In fact, I get Western diplomat there, where call me and tell me, say, we are pleased to see you at the commissions of inquiry, because it brings credibility to the process, say, they let they just drag people them, hang them, dry and find them guilty or wanting for anything. But that then people are get competent lawyers for put across the case now the commissions of inquiry. Take, for example, the phantom 30% shares where Sierra Leone be allegedly get in Sierra Leone. At the end of the day, after a thorough and effective cross-examination of the financial secretary, Sajusu, it came out that, in fact, even allegations, the way they make, he said, I read you, and newspaper, I see them. He read them. So, nobody know able for bring any paper which shows that Sierra Leone get 30% shares. Because of my effective representation of my clients and at the commissions of inquiry, we make it clear and bring to public knowledge, say, the allegations of Sierra Leone owning and the EBK government selling 30% shares in Sierra Leone, not just campaign, election gossip, election campaign gossips. There was nothing truth about it. Because of the effective representation, the people of Sierra Leone get for no say. In fact, Sierra Leone beget 7% shares in Sierra Leone. And how did that come about? Former President Dr. Admak Tijan Kaba of blessed memory, during in time, thought it wise that, look, Sarah Rutile don't owe we a lot of money in taxes. And if we say they can't enforce the payment of their taxes, yeah, then go close down. So how do we do it? Let we allow Sarah Rutile for the accumulate then taxes, yeah, we they're supposed for pay we, and convert then taxes, yeah, into shares, so that we self will begin build up shares inside Sarah Rutile, where government will get stake inside it. So over a period between 2002 to 2012, Sierra Leone accumulates taxes where Sierra Leone get for pay to the government, where come up to, where they convert them to shares up to 7% shares in Sierra Leone, not 30%. People they come about with this 30% because the agreement say through this conversion of shares, the government of Sierra Leone can acquire up to 30% shares. So they will not acquire 7%. They not reach 38. And Sierra Leone will be do that one day because they not want the government get controlling shares inside the company. I made them a limit of 30%. Then inside that same agreement, the Tijan Kaba agreement, they review inside 2004. And inside 2004, that agreement say if government at any point want for sell the shares where they don't accumulate inside Sierra Leone, they forgive first right of refusal to Sierra Leone. What that mean is that they not for sell to any other person, but they for offer and force to Sierra Leone, except Sierra Leone say they don't want time, now they will sell to other person. Then secondly, if at all Sierra Leone accept for buy, the pricing formula, that particular agreement, they show how they for calculate the pricing. So when the President Koroma government decide for sell and liquidate the shares in 2007, not so they choose who that for sell to weigh the GTT report and the evidence where they be try for put at the Commission of Inquiry report say, oh, other people they be the way want for buy at a higher, other people they want for buy and but they not good for sell and get there. Yeah, say I retail they sell and to. Well, it was not a decision by the Anes by Koroma government. It was a decision by the Tijan Kaba government, and there is continuity in government. You know go can and so you know go honor the promises where your previous governments don't make. Then secondly, not only EBK government determine almost for sale. Now the agreement self determine almost for sale. So that allegation say they underprice the shares not be correct. So the only decision where the EBK government make now for take the fiscal decision for sell the shares where any government can make, because it is within executive powers for do that one day. So when people they criticize me, if me not be good for go help the public, for go represent the people that will be involved, the public not for able for know the truth behind that one day. Again, some people will criticize me whether I put gold before them. In fact, some man say, I know one day convict, I know one day will not a cat safe, I don't convict the ACC. You know, it is their perception and nothing will change it. But when you go back to the ACC, you see me record, as a commissioner, I had almost 100% conviction rate. As a prosecutor, I had 100% conviction rate. In fact, I mean, the first prosecutor in West Africa, we don't successfully prosecute and convict on unexplained wealth. Okay. Then secondly, I investigated and indicted a sitting vice president. Let people don't forget that. And I wait for that record to be broken.
Okay, Lawyer Macaulay.
Yeah, Sekou John, hang on 1 minute, please. This is interesting in terms of you prosecuting a sitting vice president. We will come to that, but I just want to push back on the question where Sekou John asked earlier on, where you've been elaborate on. The issue of representing people who have been reprimanded or alleged accused for corruption, sir, who yes. At one point in time now being your bosses And waiting you be appoint you for do now for prosecute people and way equally corrupt or as being charged today. Now, from what you explain, what I take from there, it sounds like say it's not an illegal thing for you, but will you agree that the people them way find somehow different? Some people then see as abhorrent, as no principle. In other words, not ethical. Will you share the same sentiment then they with them? Ady Macauley, are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here. I'm going to answer your question.
Okay, the question what been asked is waiting the co-host asked you earlier on where you've been elaborate on, but I just want to push further more on that, which is from your explanation, I take and say you they represent people them who have been reprimanded now, allegedly for the case of corruption, which at one time you were the boss for prosecute people and when they go bring before you for the case of corruption. But now you turn around and then you they sort of they defend these people who have been accused of corruption. My understanding is I don't think it's illegal from what you explained and by the law, but with people them we find them difficult for understand lawyer Ady Macauley representing people who have been accused of alleged corruption. Will you agree with them if they express such sentiments as they find this act of yours unethical?
Well, basically, we profession where we get guiding principles where they determine whether issues are ethical or not. And again, I want to make this very clear. I have lost in earnings hundreds of millions of leons in rejecting to defend people in court who are being prosecuted by the Anti-Corruption Commission. I can tell you for a fact that a lot of people they don't come to me for defending a court where ACC charged them. But I have declined to do that because one, I'm not to take what left Anti-Corruption Commission. I don't want to be seen as the one defending corruption against a person being prosecuted by the Anti-Corruption Commission. I don't lose a lot of money.
But when you surely do have clients who
when people they come to me, and they send them to other lawyers. And the only person where I don't represent in an anti-corruption matter in the investigation process, now the former president, Dr. Ernest Bai Kroma, and I did this for very good reasons. One is the fact that the issues the way they can go for an anti-corruption commission, now issues the way the commissions of inquiry don't already deal with. By seeking to drag him again to the Anti-Corruption Commission on the same issues is an abuse of process. And I not go sit down, fold me hand, fold me foot, see a public office, they abuse their own office by, dragging somebody for can answer to something where he already don't answer for. There is what we call double jeopardy in law, in criminal law, and what we call res judicata. In the case of Dr. Ernest Bai Kroma, now the principle of res judicata, meaning say this issue has been resolved, don't bring it up again. The issue of Dr. Ernest Bai Kroma in Osna McKinney, the issue of Dr. Ernest Bai Kroma in Os na Godrich, na issue where the commission don't look into, they don't settle, they don't make recommendations, say, for Caesar. So why they call them back, can an ACC for talk about that one day, if not to just try, now harassment, as he said the last time, say he was being harassed. I take him as harassment, and I agree with her. These are issues that have been resolved. You have no business bringing them up again. So now he make and not get any hesitation for go represent the former president in an ACC interview, because I believe there was an abuse of process by the ACC on that particular issue.
Many thanks for the clarification, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just still bring you back to almost the same issue. You don't talk a lot about your achievements, like you try your best. And I believe say if then talk to your previous ACC leader back, he go tell you, say, me say been try my best. But despite all this best, we still get like corruption issues are like really, really rampant and endemic within the system, and you feel say una don't really do much, una been do much. Otherwise, if una been do much, if we don't still get them kind of report here today.
First of all, when you look na the United Kingdom, you look na America, where they get very strong institutions, well-funded institutions in fighting corruption. Issues of corruption still they come up. You know, so when you talk about if we don't do we work, whether they here, of course, fighting corruption not to one day something. Not forget, say, since independence, we don't get the build-up of corruption up to the level we would reach. Not to inside 1 day or 2 days, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you fight them. Now a gradual process, which is why I always insist on systems and processes. Once you get systems and processes and very strong institutions, you understand, the system will work for itself without, much prompting. But when we get very weak systems then in place, then the issues of corruption not go ever go away. They will be they will continue for linger about. I mean, if we get an online application form for apply for passport, for apply for ID card, for apply for motor driver's licenses, where you go, you get less human contact, the issue of corruption will be lessened. But over and over again, we not the field with the fight corruption, not bring out recommendations on changes in systems and processes who believe they will help for fight corruption. They've never been implemented. And until we get a country ready for fight corruption, and when we talk about fighting corruption, not to just the Anti-Corruption Commission, no. Not to just the Anti-Corruption Commission. Now, everybody in the country, don't forget, these people shouting today that Lara Taylor Pierce, now anti-government person and all like the SLPP government, I make you go pull this. Now, the same people that will be the hell Lara Taylor, where it be there, where them be there in opposition, be the hell and say they do a very good job. Now, when they don't do in office, when now their young people are involved, they don't begin criticize them. And this is where a nationhood comes to the fore. Until everybody in the country ready for put party politics aside, ready for put aside personal affiliations to people, we're not going to fight corruption. So man will tell you, say, almost a day where people they don't come now anti-corruption, say, hey, I don't go now Wataki for go pull me container. They say, I pay this amount, but the situation they give me now this. You ask us, you ready for be witness na court? Hey, no, if I go be witness na court, just no. Hey, me market now Wataki, they go they alakian for me, they go they give me problems. Then these are the issues.
Okay, yeah, that come to another question. For example, like witnesses them. You they find out, say, like then the fear, for example, like what you they say so no more exactly. Are there any mechanism now for protect, not only physically for protect the witness, but like for protect that witness they in business? Like because if I go give evidence against a particular person regarding corruption, and then at the end of the day, then get for come after me own business, something then get for hammer. What in the ACC like get in place for protect the person and protect the person in interest in terms of if na business, for example?
Well, I would tell you as far as I can recall, taken from section 81 to section 83 of the Anti-Corruption Commission, you get small witness protection mechanism when are only in court witness protection mechanism that is to say, for make sure, say, for prevents the public for know the possibility they can give testimony in a court. It can be, say, una can use a shield for cover the person face, una can use technology for distorting voice. But when you talk of protection outside of court, there is no protection, which is why one of me plans now for way I be the push now for get a a whistleblower protection system where, take for example, you know, make a give this. Exams malpractice, 2017. I get this young man where, God bless him, they like today in the third year university law. A particular renowned journalist in the country called me, say, "Bo Ady, this kind of issue they take place. So I get a young man we don't come meet me, say, somebody when I examiner call out of the blue, say, na any marking paper, I forget 150,000 for make it go pass up. And this man tell me, say, he no do very well at the exams. And also, my man not get that money there. I said, bring him for me. He bring him up to me. We set up the bubble. We get the money. He go pay the examiner. We trail them. Take each Calbaton. They rent one who lose. Who side they take was exams every day.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You remember that particular incident?
Yeah.
What we do was we work with WAEC in a way where that body in scripts. They pull it aside and get somebody independent for marker. That was a witness protection for make sure say nobody not penalize that. And one of the ways for protect people na public service when I whistleblowers, the one now for make them very difficult for the sack them. Or for make them transfer them to very difficult positions. So man say, okay, I send you na Liberia border. Now we didn't have future and I make you can't team up, they go talk na anti-corruption. So these are the sort of witness protection mechanism where in pay not going to be affected, where in promotion not going to be affected. In fact, when I go create a route for them where it comes to promotion and not get for day in the hands of the people the way usually go day in the hands, you go get an independent body we go determine the issues that day, and also make an offense for anybody within a public service where they want for using authority for disadvantage anybody when I whistleblower because of the corporation.
Yes. We are running out of time. A few more things for discuss with this eminent lawyer. They set the record straight on the platform of Then and Now this evening. And I think so far, if we are listening, it's a learning curve for every one of us. Yes, there are sentiments being expressed, but largely it's from the background of the law. And the good thing about this entire exercise is we ourselves can go back and go check documents and try for make up with your minds on the basis of documentations that are available. A speaker about and then record and day. So not just dispute the records on the basis of sentiment. So I got a question for the lawyer before we come to the last point, but as usual, just want for go through the tradition and the platform for say a big welcome and thank you to all the people that we keep the chat room, here lively. Poppy Arun, of course, a usual contributor to this program, very, very active, and a senior brother, Boy Jalo Jamboria, Sister Abibatu Samora, Angela Aminata Sori Kamara, and Rebecca Nkrumah Johnson. I think this is from all the way Ghana, Brother Ransford Clements, and many more. Daniel Damo Watson. Okay, we get somebody from Freetown. We got a few people from Freetown. Joseph Fofana, One Salon. They watch all the way from Birmingham. Somebody from Australia. Dr. Lamin Denke, Mamadou Ila Momo. All I want to say thank you. And Jimmy Otello, all the way from Uganda. We get a few Ugandans watching, so we haven't done them fairly, yet because now Creole will be in the speak. But I think that they follow, these people have been following the platform. Sounds like something like HMRC will negotiate to recuperate unpaid taxes by Starbucks and etc. Okay, Mr. Okello, thank you very much for that contribution. Mr. Mohammed Paka, Israel Ojeka Papa Senior, one from Liberia. Okay, so there's a lot. Salon First and etc. And Mr. Daniel Rogers. Okay, Simeon Kamara, Emmanuel, Sarah Koroma. I want to say thank you to Una. All the names are endless there. Now, something I just pick up from lawyer Ady before I go to my next question, which is you haven't held back in this interview. Let me, that me understanding. You haven't held back. And when I say you not hold back, You are the predecessor to the current, not really the predecessor, but you did hold the office. And all along, they talk about processes and procedures. So I take it that process and procedures are not being applied in many of the instances that you spoke of. Will I be correct in saying that, sir?
You are very much correct.
Okay, so I move on to the next point. Thank you so much for that. So you take upon the onus for represent the former president, Ady Macauley. And as you say, you've lost a lot. But prior to linking him up, another senior lawyer, I believe the former president was Ady Macauley, who gave up that same position so that it not go suffer similar fate like they suffer. Is it out of personal loyalty or principle that you decide? I don't say you talk something about this. Is it out of that you decide for go all the way with Dr. Ady Macauley? That's one question. And the second one is that you make it very clear that what is being done to the current president, it amounts to some sort of injustice. So what I want for you explain to Fambula again, although I think to some degree you've done this, is the commissions of inquiry may not already investigate. But what will you understand? The Anti-Corruption Commission then get this unbridled power for investigate criminal offenses. So now on that basis, they investigate the former president and others further on the basis of criminality because the COI not being get that power there. Will you elaborate on that issue there, please?
Okay, fine. I can talk a lot of law back. When you look at section 26 and 27 of the Anti-Corruption Act, we largely get to do with unexplained wealth or corrupt acquisition of wealth, that somebody acquire property or live a lifestyle we not commensurate to emolument, official emolument. You go back to section 4 of constitutional instruments numbers 64, 65, and 67. They all talk about the same thing. So section 4 of the instruments and section 26 and 27 of the Anti-Corruption Act, they are basically talking about the same thing, unexplained wealth. So the commissions of inquiry don't come, don't investigate unexplained wealth, don't make a determination, say, then property where you get McKinney and Freeton, now property that will believe, say, you acquire improperly. That is, they're not commensurate to your official emolument. So we seize them. What on earth again the anti-corruption get for call the same person for go ask her questions but unexplained wealth? The anti-corruption get far better things them for do. Instead of going after EBK for issues the way the commissions of inquiry don't deal with. There we big. We still get the 1.5 million issue of money where they allegedly say in a particular minister in your account. We still get issues of the 49,000 bags of rice we lost, where the case go to court, mysteriously come on a court back. We still get issues of 2019 audit report and COVID audit report. These are enough issues to deal with. Commissions of inquiry don't deal with the issues that they, as I say, we get.
Excuse me, sir. Salon Force. I just get a report. I saw you not been see you earlier on, and the administrator them. Please, there's no abuse on this particular platform. Please, if you do that one more time, we will strike you off, and you know we'll come back ever again at this platform. Please, we can disagree for agree, but we get for treat ourselves with all due respect. You respect the guests, you respect other people them when they express their own opinion. They're not they insult you. I mean, please. And if I see one more of that, you're gone. We'll strike you off, brother, and you're off this platform. Sorry about that, sir. Continue.
So as I say, in law, we get what we call double jeopardy in criminal law. That is, they not go charge you
for the same matter.
For the same matter. Mm-hmm. In civil law, we get what we call res judicata, meaning that when something is settled in law, they don't settle the matter through a judgment of the court. The only thing where you get now Now for appeal, they go start another case on the same issue again. Now an abuse of process. And that is the point that I'm trying to make. The Commission of Inquiry don't come and determine, say, Dr. Nesbai Kumar property na Godrich and a McKinney na a product on an explained wealth and a decision. ACC not get any business again for call and for go ask them on them particular issues. Then it is my opinion. The current commissioner might have a different, the current occupant of the office might have a different view, but that is my view. My view is an abuse of office.
Okay, thank you very much. Before we go to constitutional issues proper, I just want to ask one last question on this corruption and voting. You don't stress a lot, say there are current issues we'll for deal with. Not to you no more. A lot of people, critics of this current administration, they say whether minister they build 2 houses yonder, some man they build 1 house yonder. So at which point a commissioner of the ACC, or let's say the ACC, supposed for commence an investigation? Are they supposed to base their investigation on speculation, or are they supposed to base their commission on facts and evidence before commencing an investigation against a particular person, especially now when they say somebody they build 2 houses at the same time or 3 houses? How ACC will start such investigation against particular person where they accuse, say they build 2 houses or 10 houses at the same time, where the person a minister or other stuff?
Well, the term within an ACC, not to me, they make determination on whether for start for prosecute or not. We get a committee where we set up, we meet the commissioner not be dating. We made up of staff from different departments, where they sit on a weekly basis, all complaints where they come. They sit down and they see their report and they. This way they will recommend for prosecution. This way they will make for referral to another institution. This way they will make a recommendation, say, "Long not even start for look at all." But notwithstanding that, they don't do all that in there. They put all the reports them. They send them back to me. Then me they go now and look through the recommendations and the comments and for see if I agree or I not agree with them. There are many times where I look at certain issues. They are saying, no, this issue, even though they don't recommend, say, maybe we not look at them. We still get for look at them. Obviously, there is no way you go determine whether or not true or not to true, say somebody they build 2 houses until you investigate her. What you go do in the instances that the person will make the allegation, you go call her, you come. So you don't say this person they build 2 houses at the same time. Who say they build houses here? And what now this person name? It will show you the details. You tell her, say, fine, thank you very much. We will talk. You go now na Roxy building and try for see in Uda in name, then conveyances then they. These are investigations and inquiries where they make in the background without the person not even know self, without you not even call the person. You don't need for call the person. If you do your investigation, you go turn out, in fact, this person where they say na get this, so they go investigate. The title is not to even get them. In fact, this not just probably out of malice and all that in there. You not even get for border for call the person for Kana ACC. You go dismiss and there and then. So these are just some of the ways. But again, like audit report, you don't need a committee for tell you get for investigate audit report. It is there, it's empirical, you touch, you see, you feel, you hear them, you hear. Say corruption, they inside this document.
Okay, one thing will strike me.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, one thing will strike me most before we go now to the constitutional issues. Now the Ministry of Finance, we then talk about expenses on senior officers like their funerals. Is it I don't even understand whether incumbent on the state for spend on funeral services of people who don't serve them, especially now, for the ministry not to follow, because now, okay, good. We don't see now they say expenditure without regulation or policies. I mean, this is a blatant like abuse of office, or if shall I say so? Because now policies are supposed for they for guide una how una they spend and how much una they spend. But you just go take over how many 3 point something billion you spend without like without following any policy or regulations at the ministry. Okay, we see about 1.6 billion we are withdrawn from the consolidated funds account at the Bank of Sierra Leone to defray the cost of funeral expenses of some senior government officials who had passed away. The funds were without any regulation, policy, or other legal instrument to justify the stated disbursement. So I know able get me head around this. So I think say Denti are all believe say na sufficient evidence for starting investigation, isn't it?
Of course, it's empirical. It's there. Now, documented they talk. I mean, probably the payment voucher don't say this money we will take now for go pay for so you will be dying, this and that. The next way they do now for determine whether or not it is proper in law for do that one day. You know, not forget, say, doing the commission of inquiry, the issue of crime way National Minerals Agency, you know, I always like for go back to fact and law. During the commissions of inquiry, the National Minerals Agency, NMA, make a contribution of 30 million euros towards the burial of the late Mosire Fadika. That issue, it was brought up. They said they're not be getting right for go burying 30 million. So again, as you said earlier, the issues where we condemned yesterday, they still take place today. It shows say we as Sierra Leoneans not learn it. The one that will be put before for rule this country, the one we put before for administer the finances of the country and the administration of the country are just there to basically earn their salaries and not do what they're supposed for doing in the day.
So, like, okay, because this now they say no legal instrument ever existed, like regarding that. So, minister then just or people then just they grab no more and do whatever they feel like doing.
That is what it appears to be.
Okay. Okay, now let's go to constitutional issues. Like, we don't see a lot of, well, accusation or allegations say, for example, even your removal of office, you know, really deal within the law. Like, even when you been they explain the criteria, at least for remove is somebody, a sitting ACC person, or like even the Auditor General, we see say like, okay, in your own case, due process had not been followed at all. So whose example you feel say then don't set?
It's a very bad example. You know, for the very first time, we see the remove the commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission outside of the law. The law say before you remove the commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission, you for don't set up a tribunal. We made up of at least 2 court of appeal judges and a third person. The findings that they send and go parliament, and you know, parliament get for debate time and vote on 2/3 majority before ever the recommendation for removal, you know, carried out. Well, I was asked by way of letter from the secretary to president say I must proceed on leave because of readjustment and reconfiguration at the office. I proceeded on leave. I for don't say no, you not get the authority for doing. Of course, you not get the authority for doing, but again, I don't want for raise issues where go bring the integrity of the office down. You know, I did not want issues of politics to come into the ACC. So I went on leave, forced leave. Then immediately after, basically 2 or 3 days later, I get a letter where they tell me, say, that they sack me. They don't sack me because of restructuring. They don't say adubadu. They say because of restructuring. Well, obviously, I still have a contract which ends on the 4th day of April 2021. And I will say this. I know say, when you breach a contract, when you sack Jose Mourinho, you say no one time as your Premier League manager again. No say that in 2 or 3 years we left in contract, you pay and force before you left. Not to so. So basically, we get an established precedent. Now Sierra Leone say when you remove somebody from the office, we in time not do it. They pay for your next part time. And that has to do with the late Kanji Darami, we be in a sal post. When the president and his by Kumai came, they remove her from office. He demand say that for PM the money way if don't and if they not be don't remove her from office because according to her he was improperly removed. And the EBK government dutifully say, okay, fine, it be left 2 or 3 years for you. We pay you money we be supposed for that and before we remove you. But it is not about the money. It is about the interference of politics into the administration of independent institutions. It's a danger to this country. It's a complete danger. The office of the Anti-Corruption Commissioner, the office of the Ombudsman, the office of the Auditor General, the office of the Director of Public Prosecution, the office of the Solicitor General. These are offices that you cannot touch because now them people here suppose for be the people where they guide you government for make sure say you comply with the law without sentiment. But if every government will come, he remove that immediately, he feels say they go bring with somebody where he comfortable with. You don't have to be comfortable with me to work with me. As long as I am doing what I'm supposed to do, it's fine. That is my principle. There are staff when I was at the ACC who are not comfortable for work with, but they were doing their job. And that was what was important to me. But I will tell you, the politics has basically crept into the Anti-Corruption Commission, starting with my removal.
Okay, yeah, because now you don't say.
Yeah, hang on there, Mr. Joe. Mr. Joe, let's push back on what lawyer Ady Macauley say. Your sacking was unconstitutional. So is there any way to recourse? They talk about legal recourse, or you just get for sit down and wait, hoping that government will change and then things will happen? Is that the case, sir?
No, sir. Let me tell you this. I am a fighter. I fight with bare knuckles. If you are a street fighter, you know what I mean. And when you read Tizu, The Art of War, one of his rules there would say, he who wins knows when to fight and when not to fight. And I know when to fight.
Copy, yeah.
Yes. So basically the point what I try to make is this. I know my rights. I know the recourse that I will take when I want to enforce my rights. In the fullness of time, at the right moment, I will pursue it.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, like for example, we'll go back deep into other issues. Like we see this is general. Even then like during the past regime, the past government, even they happen, and currently back they happen as well. So nobody know they can politicize or suppose for politicize the issues yeah. Would they see where then they arrest people on allegations whether na corruption or other offenses? Then people and they wait and arrest like somebody they qualify for make them bail and but they know they give them bail. Somebody they languish in a prison or like for many months without like even matters coming to court, or every day then they just adjourn. What do you go tell me how then they go fit in within the rule of law?
Well, I will start with my own case now, the Anti-Corruption Commission. One of the things that will not be a blessing to me as a commissioner was that I had worked as a prosecutor in the commission for about 5 or 6 years before I was appointed. So I was blessed with institutional memory and I seamlessly transitioned into the role of the commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission. I don't see who side they can make allegation against somebody in the first instance, say, but this is a massive corruption, the evidence there. But by the time they finish the investigation, say there was nothing. You left them, prosecutor because evidence not there. I take that in my head and I use them way at the exercise my authority and discretion as to the issue of bail. I gave everybody bail. we the accused of corruption, we are arrest. And not get cause for make somebody sleep in a cell until probably able to fulfill the bail conditions them we then get. For the simple reason being that these are just allegations of corruption. Whether I didn't sell, whether I not didn't sell, you will continue to investigate. One of the reasons why investigating authorities then can refuse people and bail, now the potential for let the person obstruct or interfere with the ongoing investigations. What maybe they do? If now your office I be they investigate, when you know the boss, I go give instructions, say not go to that office again until I finish for investigate you. So you're not going for go there for hide documents, for do this or for do that. Keeping you in the ACC and asking you not to go to the office until such time as is appropriate, that's the same thing. So I don't see the unnecessary detention. Take, for example, the late Momo Conte, Alfred Paulo Conte, all of them were arrested sometime in December 2018 by the Anti-Corruption Commission. They locked them up for 4 or 5 days. Now, cell. They give them bail. Up to this day, nothing not come out of the investigations then they. ACC not tell you whether something, they find out something or they not find out something. It's going 2 years or 2.5 years. So these are the issues. You don't lock up people just because you have the powers to lock up people.
Yeah.
This is where, you know, issues of rule of law come. As for the issue of rule of law in terms of police investigation, and they didn't even go there. Now, don't you give me variously they talk about, you know, inside the past, I have been in practice for about 17 years. The amount of application for habeas corpus where I don't file in the past 2.5 going 3 years. But who pass which I filed for the remaining for the remaining 13 or 14 years of my practice. This just tell you the regularity with which the Sierra Leone police force, they abuse the constitution. We take, for example, the McKinney incident or the Losa incident, then keep some of them people there for more than 20, 30 days. Look, Dr. Sylvia Ola in Kai Blyden. They keep her for a very long time now, CID, beyond the 10 days we constitutionally allowed. The same thing with Alfred Paulo Conte in IWEF, almost 30 days. And the constitution tell you, say, when it comes to issues or investigation, we get for do with capital punishment, where basically if they convict you, they will kill you. Or issue we get for do with environmental crimes or financial crimes, they get up to 10 days for hold you. But for all other offenses, now 72 hours, after which you either charge the person to court or you get bail. We see consistently the Sierra Leone police force, especially now the CID, where the old people there for days on end. When I remember, say the first time where I left ACC, now the time where I take the issue of Captain P, when a former presidential bodyguard to Anes Baikoma. They were arrested, and for 6 months, they were not charged to court, they were all in detention. I read in a newspaper, I called the editor of the newspaper, I said, but this is what they read, so now correct something, say they hold somebody, keep them from June to October, November, they not charge and go call, they not get bail. He said, yes, now too. I said, tell the person, say, I ready for offer free legal services. And I get calls for going at the Provost Marshal Detention Center outside the detain so Jamaden 3. I get conference with them. I file papers in a court, writ of habeas corpus for force the authorities for either charge them to court or give them bail. And that gets an effect in the sense that because of the application I filed, it forced them for charge them 3 so Jamaden, go na court martial. And I get me other colleagues then do Sil Taylor and Ambassador Kuma, where I tell them, say, there are 3 suspects here. I don't know if Naki mind for joining me. There's no problem. Then come, they join, we provide them free legal services until the end of the trials the day. So it is not only political issues that I'm involved in. I know what it means for whether they trample on somebody in right. I've been a victim and I continue to be a victim. You see, for almost 2.5 years, going 3 years, this is the first time that I have traveled out of the country. I was improperly banned from leaving my country. Nobody know when they call me na commission of inquiry, say I do anything. Nobody know when they call me na police, but somebody decide for put me name na travel ban list because he get the authority for do so.
Okay, that brings me back
to the question of the travel ban business right now. Because from my understanding, just like what you say, Talek say confirm the story with the that somebody decide for put your name on the travel ban, and then when they decide for remove them, they remove them. But because the name don't go forward, there was also problems at an other end, and therefore you can get some in. Yes, sir. Please address that issue.
On the 18th of January, on the 18th of December, that is last Friday, go na Lunge Airport for left the country. Of course, immigration stopped me, so they're not going to allow me for board the plane because my name day now, which they call a no-fly list. So I said, well, when I go show me the purpose of that list, because I'm not thief, I'm not eat, I'm not rob. So who's one now that they can't put me on a travel ban list? I get for call a friend within at the current government and tell them about my predicament. We say, well, no, this is not right. The latest travel ban list with you never know that they why they for prevent you from traveling. So 1 or 2 calls that we get for make, then eventually they allow me for board the plane. But at the end of the day, the embarrassment has been caused, and it is not fair. Just like every other Sierra Leonean, I get the right for left and go back na saloon as and when I feel like, without seeking the permission slip of anybody for do so.
Okay, yeah, like then they bring we now to this issue of travel ban, and then for just try for juxtapose them with the freedom of movement we constitution allow. So like because we don't see like you young case for example, you say of course we know hear any allegations levied against you, but you suffer a lot because from 2018 you get your family, you know, you can't see them. Then how like yeah, how this thing had to work, why this thing had to happen, you know, if you say this now like a total violation of people's rights, like then and they, because how you go ban somebody without even finding any smoking gun against the person?
Exactly, lawyer Ady. I mean, do you address this thing to the core? Because some of us really need to understand this. How waiting constitute a ban where we go make person in name as we speak of this current time for let you name day on a ban list, and let person like you where you name as suppose not they by any of their requirement and their document and they you happen for be there. Where are we heading?
Well, first of all, we start with the basis of the freedom of movement. Now, Section 18 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone. It says nobody know the way they for deprive of the movement of in freedom of movement for move freely in and within Sierra Leone or for move in and outside of Sierra Leone. Nobody know the way they for do that one day for. They say any restriction on the movement of the person for be in accordance with the law. One, Usai it be say for stop you for stop you freedom of movement is reasonably required in the interest of the defense. Take for example, during the war days, they say forget coffee order. You know, one rebel they infiltrates the country. For public safety, take for example, Ebola and COVID term. They say, you know what, this, if we allow people to go up and down too much, they go spread COVID or Ebola. For public order, public morality, on some other issue. Or basically, there are issues the way they are so criminal that they can prevent you from your freedom of movement. They arrest you for an offense, lock you up. Obviously, now your freedom of movement, they don't compromise. But coming to the instant case, take for example, some people in at this commission of inquiry, the only problem we they get is they say the host where they bill, now host where they're not able to explain who side the money, and government they seize the host. So now, governments don't seize the host. Why the ban that person from traveling out of the country again? The property where you say you're not able to explain who side pulling money for bill, you don't seize and done. Not so. You don't get any other issue again way for deal with now the commission of inquiry except that hosting. You don't seize the hoster. Why you for ban them from traveling again? Does it make sense? No. This is exercising authority in a very harsh and high-handed way. It's an overkill because I know all governments, the only also when I say I get issues from a commission of inquiry, you don't see that done. So why if you tell me I'm not able to move out of the country again? And make I give you an example. Now, Nigeria, there was a point where they refused for renew the passport of a certain political individual. The person going to court, he say the government don't restrict a movement for move inside and outside of the country. The government said, no, we'll not stop you for move outside of the country. We'll not stop you for buy tickets, fly and go inside. The court said, no. He said, we'll not stop him because the only way where this man will able to travel out of this country now through a Nigerian passport. So by you refusing to give him a Nigerian passport, you are restricting his movement outside of the country to travel to other countries. So the issues of freedom of movement, now issues that were very serious, where constitutionally they are protected, and we not foresee people they breach the constitution, like say, law not in the country. They go detain people them as and when they want to detain them, keep them until such time where they're satisfied, they release them, or say, no, they go today, they travel out of the country. These are very serious issues. And I hope, say, the government, the president, Dr. Julius Madabi, will take notice of some of their issues here. These are issues where they bring disunity in our country. These are issues where get the potential for affect the national security of the country, because when you do this same thing to too many people, then you get too many people in the country. We get very angry mind towards the government because of the injustice where they feel say they don't do to them. I mean, for this anchor, in Wamatol, he said they improperly accused her of coup, they lock her for how many years or they release, and I didn't want to come out. So when we don't look at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report, it don't tell we the issues that we bring, civil unrest in the country. But it look like say they will not learn it.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. Mr. Prince, you get any more questions?
Yes, I think we wrap up now, and I just want to commend Lawyer Ady, for spending 2.5 hours. But this obviously will not go in vain because the Sierra Leonean people are hooked up to what you're saying, and this word they go far and wide, really far and wide, sir. So thank you very much. And those of who are waiting at the platform where they have a chat na the room. I think the final question to you before I yield the floor to you for let you wrap up and give you final submissions, sir, will be a final message to Sierra Leoneans then, because as we speak today, even though you're not a lawyer, but of course you get your legal opinion and you get other opinions as well, I believe. And from what you outlined to me, it's clear that the divisions are many and it's expanding, and it's as a consequence of the lack of the way you call them processes and procedures, because they're not being applied. And to those Sierra Leoneans, those of us who are kind of split somewhere in the middle or confused, don't know which way for go, we go say Lawyer Ady, but you've been served the APC government at some point. Now you are in opposition effectively. what good do we expect you for, say, about the current government? I do understand where you come from, but as I watch the chat room, I see waiting the conversation where they on go there, we get a degree of responsibility for educate. We compete towards them or conscientize them rather than educate, conscientize them. So wait till you therefore say to these people with one final thought. And finally, Lawyer Ady, before you go, obviously the office where you be once occupy is a little bit different now as it were when you were there. Do you have issues with the way it different now as opposed to when you've been there? Or you still see and say there's a lot of procedural impropriety where they happen, and as a consequence of this, with fellow Sierra Leoneans and they suffer unlawful detention, the way we talk about arbitrary arrest, intimidations, and repression?
Firstly, I want to tell Sierra Leoneans and say, my tenure at the Anti-Corruption Commission as a prosecutor and as a commissioner is serving the people of Sierra Leone and not a particular government. There's only one Sierra Leone where we get. You know, I come off from a family where my mama get a public service experience of almost 40 years serving the government, different government, serving the people of Sierra Leone. So for MEC, we able for exercise then political issues here when it comes to national debate. Now for look at people in service, not as serving any political party, but as serving the country. Only when you do that, you go able for start for think objectively about the service in public offices. You know, some people may not like me, and I will not force them to like me. Not everybody will like me.
Absolutely.
That I accept, and I cannot change their opinion. Each to his own opinion. So there is very little I can do. But when it comes to the Anti-Corruption Commission, even though another day, they follow closely, because for make the Anti-Corruption Commission, they so elect today. Now, because of the effort of people that we don't work in the past, and make I recognize the service of somebody like Justice Miata Maria Samba, we not the first Sierra Leonean way they don't appoint or elect to the International Criminal Court as a judge. I worked with her at the Anti-Corruption Commission. She was my immediate boss. She was the chief of prosecution, and I was an ordinary prosecutor. In that we team, we beget Justice Finn, we beget Justice Miata Samba, we beget Justice Mansari, you beget me, you beget Ambassador Imran Kanu, you beget Oceana George. These are people where, as a result of their service, they prosecute endlessly, with passion, with integrity, add to the name way anti-corruption gets elected today. So make we left this thing about, oh, he served the APC government. I would have prosecuted and served under any government. Not to me say, I don't want to work with the SLPPBO government too. Now they look me and tell me, say they don't want to work with me. So one way people, they one can beat me for not working with the government. From where I left the government, I don't go out there. I cannot assess myself, but I know I've done well. I have the capacity for continue for serve the country, and I continue for do so in very limited ways. For example, for give pro bono services to people that will believe say that they trample on their rights them. We not get money for go take lawyer. Like they soldier man, they will be hold for 6 months and not charged to court. They no give them bail. I went there, I took up their matter, and they left today. They are free where they are. So for me, these are the issues. Let us take politics out of it. I will not openly criticize the Anti-Corruption Commission on the issues the way they deal with. I follow them closely. When I get issues, I get my own conduit to what we call say, so and so thing way they happen. If that be me, not so a good one. And I will not deviate from that policy and criticize them today. No, I will not.
Okay. Thank you
so finally,
so much,
yeah. So finally, lawyer Ady Macauley, waiting at the relationship between you and the current ACC boss, una can get any conversation like you can give advice based on the experience where you get, or?
Well, I would tell you, say my advice has never been sought.
Okay, thank you very much, lawyer Ady Macauley.
Thank you very much for having me, and goodbye to the
Yeah.
viewers and listeners.
Lawyer Macauley, we just want to thank you and appreciate you. First time on the Then and Now platform, and hopefully this won't be the last, but we really, really appreciate the time where you take off for sit down with we and have conversation. So we family and the diaspora, although they already know you, but from this platform in itself, then we'll get for a from you. But I think you address many issues here tonight. Merry Christmas to you and the family, sir.
And same to you all, and same to listeners and viewers. Thank you
very much. So, Pambulem, we've come to the end of this broadcast here tonight. Very important broadcast and very significant broadcast. They go all to the Salon people, and what a Christmas bonanza. Sometimes we can dip and talk things them outside of the box. We're not really bad, but sometimes you can find for let we mass break. You see the talk when we said on Kapu this behind them. Me not a fan of Alpha Saidu, but I talk the way popularized Kapu sense no Kapu word is philosophical. It means a lot. And so Fambule with the ask una for level the Kapu sense, a level no Kapu word. In behalf of Sekou John Barry, when I'm a co-host here tonight on the platform, who has done a marvelous, marvelous job for talk to the former anti-corruption boss, an eminent scholar, an eminent and renowned man, although some of you not agree, I don't even know why. But anyway, we've come to the end of this program. Una, thank you very much. Season greetings to una all. Una, we continue to shape this video, let other people get access to them. We can cut the edited version and we go post on our YouTube page. And then from there, let we see where that family will subscribe. Any last words, Sekou John?
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. We once more thank lawyer Ady Macauley, and my advice to we fellow Sierra Leoneans, whether you live Freetown or out of Freetown, is sometimes we discuss national issues devoid of politics. They will embrace, like, really, they will take out politics in whatever we discuss. They will put Salom, like, the interest of Sierra Leone should be overriding. They will put Sierra Leone interest first. You know, mean say why they talk something where you know, like, you know, for listen to me, you know, need for go personal. We need for put Salon interest. Then we try for engage in a constructive debate or dialogue without going personal. I mean, that's not me appeal to every Sierra Leonean. You don't need for cause me, I don't need for cause you. If we get different political ideas, but we need for engage. Maybe through engagement, I go able to see to your point. I even follow you. Like politics, you don't need for cause me. I don't need for cause you. But I need for sell me idea or me political idea or me ideology to you. Maybe if I make sense, you go able to come to me. But I not go able to come for make you support me through cause or attack or other things. So I want the Sierra Leoneans them make them embrace love and make we behave like any civilized people them by the way we do politics. But me, the way I see politics, the way how politics they happen at the social media, encouraging at all, to be honest. So me and my advice that they will not need for attack each other. Let's just engage in a civilized debate. And then I get for Fambulem tonight, and I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And until then, me and Sekou John Barry, they can't.
And I'm being Prince Krumah also.